What if I told you the clearest sign a man is falling deeply in love with you is not the words, "I love you"? It is not how often he compliments your beauty. It is not how many hearts he sends in a text message. And it is definitely not how loudly he tells the world that you are his woman. The real sign is much quieter, so quiet that most women completely miss it. When a man is only attracted to you, he wants your attention. When he is curious about you, he wants your time. When he is enjoying your company, he wants your presence. But when a man is falling deeply in love with you, something inside him begins to change. He starts making room for you in a life that existed before you. And that is the difference. Because attraction can make a man chase you for a moment. Chemistry can make him stay for a season. But love starts making him think about you when you are not even there. He begins considering your feelings before making decisions. He starts remembering the little things you said when you thought nobody was listening. He notices when your energy changes. He pays attention to what makes you uncomfortable, what makes you smile, what makes you feel safe. And the most powerful part is this. He does not always announce that he is doing it. He simply starts doing it. That is why you cannot measure a man's feelings only by what comes out of his mouth. You have to watch what his behavior reveals when he thinks nobody is keeping score, because words can be rehearsed. Consistency cannot. A man can tell you that you are beautiful because he knows those are the words you want to hear. He can tell you that he misses you because he wants access to you. He can promise you the world because promises are easy when there is nothing attached to them. But when a man starts genuinely falling for you, he begins to become emotionally invested in your experience. Your happiness starts mattering to him. Your disappointment starts affecting him. Your absence starts feeling different. And suddenly, this woman who was once simply someone he enjoyed talking to becomes someone whose presence has emotional weight in his life. That is the secret sign. He starts caring about how you feel, not just how you make him feel. Think about that for a second. There is a huge difference between a man who loves the way you make him feel and a man who genuinely cares about the way you feel. The first man is focused on his experience. The second man is emotionally connected to yours. And women sometimes confuse the two because both can look romantic in the beginning. A man may call you every night. He may flirt with you all day. He may tell you that nobody understands him like you do. He may make you feel like the most desirable woman on earth. But ask yourself one question. When you are hurting, does he care? When you are overwhelmed, does he notice? When you say something matters to you, does he remember? When you establish a boundary, does he respect it? When you are quiet, does he become curious about what is happening inside you instead of simply becoming angry that you are not giving him attention? Because love is not just about how intensely someone wants you. Love is also about how carefully someone handles your heart. And a man who is falling deeply in love starts understanding that. He may not suddenly become perfect. He may still have flaws. He may still struggle to express himself. He may not have the perfect words every time, but watch what happens to his actions. He begins adjusting, not because you demanded that he become somebody else, but because your presence makes him want to become a better version of himself. That is powerful. A man who is deeply invested does not look at every compromise as a loss. He starts looking for ways to make the relationship work without losing himself. He starts asking questions he never used to ask. What do you think? How did that make you feel? Are you okay? What do you need? Those questions may sound simple, but they reveal something enormous. He is no longer living entirely inside his own world. He is making space for yours. And ladies, that is where you need to pay attention. Do not get distracted by grand gestures while ignoring small consistency. Anybody can bring flowers once. Anybody can plan an expensive date. Anybody can write a beautiful paragraph at midnight. But who remembers that you hate being ignored when you are trying to explain something important? Who remembers the story you told 3 weeks ago? Who notices that you have been unusually quiet? Who checks on you without needing something from you? Who makes an effort even when there is nothing to gain? That is where emotional attachment starts revealing itself. Because when a man is deeply falling for you, you stop being an event in his life. You start becoming part of his thinking. He sees something during his day and thinks, she would love this. He hears a song and remembers you. He passes a restaurant and remembers the conversation you had there. He sees something that reminds him of your dream. your favorite thing, your strange little habit, and suddenly you are on his mind. You are becoming emotionally associated with his world. And that is something no forced relationship tactic can manufacture. You cannot manipulate a man into genuine emotional investment. You cannot chase someone into caring. You cannot text him 20 times a day and make him develop deeper feelings. You cannot convince someone to value you by constantly proving your value. Real attachment grows when two people experience something meaningful together and begin to associate each other with safety, trust, respect, and emotional connection. And this is why you should stop obsessing over every text message. Stop analyzing whether his good morning had one heart or two. Stop measuring love by response time. Stop staring at your phone, trying to determine your worth from the number of minutes it takes him to answer. Because a woman who knows her value does not spend her entire day trying to decode crumbs. She watches patterns. Pause, tell the truth. Does he show up? Does he keep his word? Does he listen? Does he respect you? Does he make room for you? Does he care about your emotional world? Does his behavior become more consistent over time? That is what matters. Because a man's feelings become believable when his actions repeatedly agree with his words. And there's another sign that many women miss. When a man is deeply falling for you, he starts becoming protective of the relationship itself. Not possessive, not controlling, protective. There is a difference. He begins to care about misunderstandings being resolved. He does not want every disagreement to become a reason to walk away. He starts thinking beyond the moment. He may say, let's talk about this. He may come back after cooling down. He may try to understand your perspective even when he disagrees. He may start learning how you communicate because he realizes that losing connection with you is not something he wants to take lightly. That is maturity. That is emotional investment. And sometimes the biggest sign of love is not what a man does when everything is easy. It is what he does when things become difficult. Anybody can love you when you are smiling. Anybody can enjoy you when you are agreeable. Anybody can be affectionate when everything is going their way. But when you have a difficult day, when you disagree, when you need reassurance, when life gets complicated, that is when you discover whether his feelings have depth. Because real love is not tested during convenience. It is revealed during inconvenience. And if he consistently chooses respect when anger would be easier, communication when silence would be easier, and understanding when defensiveness would be easier, pay attention. That man may be emotionally deeper than he knows how to explain. But here's something you must never forget. Do not turn one sign into an excuse for a man's bad behavior. A man being emotionally attached does not give him permission to disrespect you. A man having feelings does not excuse manipulation. A man being afraid of commitment does not mean you should accept inconsistency forever. Love should not require you to abandon your standards. In fact, the right kind of love should make your standards even more meaningful. You should never have to become smaller so someone can feel bigger. You should never have to silence your needs so a man will stay. You should never have to chase someone into recognizing what is already valuable. Your job is not to convince a man to love you. Your job is to recognize whether the love he offers is healthy enough to receive. And that changes everything. Because when you stop chasing validation, you start observing reality. When you stop trying to control his feelings, you start seeing his choices. When you stop asking, how can I make him fall for me? You can finally ask the question that matters. How does he treat me when he already has my attention? That question separates fantasy from reality. And if his answer is consistency, respect, consideration, patience, effort, and genuine concern for your emotional well-being, then you may be witnessing something deeper than attraction. You may be watching a man slowly fall in love. Not because you performed perfectly, not because you chased him, not because you played games, but because something about the connection became meaningful enough for him to invest emotionally. And when a man reaches that point, you do not have to beg for his attention. You do not have to compete for his interest. You do not have to constantly remind him that you exist. He knows, because you have become part of the way he sees his life. And that is the sign most women miss. He does not just want to have you. He starts wanting to understand you. He does not just want your affection. He starts protecting your emotional connection. He does not just enjoy your presence. He begins to feel your absence. And he does not simply ask, What can she do for me? He begins asking himself, what can I do to make this woman feel valued? That is when attraction begins turning into something deeper. That is when interest starts becoming attachment. And that is when a man who once saw you as someone he liked begins seeing you as someone he does not want to lose. But remember this, never rush the process. Let his actions unfold. Let consistency speak. Let time reveal intention. You do not need to force a confession. You do not need to interrogate his feelings. You do not need to chase clarity from someone who is committed to keeping you confused. Stay grounded. Stay confident. Stay true to yourself. Because the woman who knows her worth does not need to convince anyone that she is worth loving. She watches. She listens. She observes. And eventually, the truth becomes impossible to hide. Because when a man is falling deeply in love with you, his heart may take time to say it, but his behavior starts revealing it long before his mouth does. And this is where you have to understand something that can completely change the way you approach love. You should never have to chase a man into emotional intimacy. You should never have to force him to open up. You should never have to constantly ask, do you really care about me? Because when a man's feelings become deep enough, his behavior starts answering questions you never even asked. He starts letting you see sides of him that he normally keeps hidden. He talks about things that happened to him years ago. He tells you about fears he does not usually admit. He shares dreams that he has never felt comfortable saying out loud. He may even tell you about moments in his life that made him feel weak, embarrassed, disappointed, or afraid. And ladies, understand what that means. A man does not always reveal his deepest emotions simply because a woman is attractive. Physical attraction can make him want to get closer to you, but emotional safety makes him willing to reveal himself to you. That is a completely different level of connection. When he begins trusting you with the parts of himself that he normally protects, he is not just enjoying your company. He is allowing you into his emotional world, and that is valuable. But there is another important detail. A man who is falling deeply for you begins caring about your opinion without becoming controlled by it. He wants to know what you think. He values your perspective. He listens when you speak, but he does not need you to approve of every decision he makes. That is healthy masculine confidence. He can stand on his own feet while still respecting the woman beside him. And if he starts asking for your thoughts before making important decisions, pay attention. Maybe he is considering a career move. Maybe he is planning something for his future. Maybe he is thinking about changing something in his life. And suddenly he says, what do you think? That question may sound ordinary, but sometimes it reveals that your voice has gained weight in his life. Your opinion matters. Your perspective matters. Your presence matters. You are no longer just somebody he spends time with. You are becoming somebody he considers. And that is one of the strongest signs of emotional investment, because love changes the way people make decisions. When you genuinely care about someone, you naturally begin asking how your choices will affect them. You start thinking beyond yourself. And that is what you should watch for. Does he consider you when making choices? Does he think about your comfort? Does he remember your boundaries? Does he try to make plans that include your needs? Does he care about building something that works for both of you? Because the deeper the feelings become, the less the relationship feels like me versus you. It begins feeling like us. And that shift is powerful, but never confuse us with losing yourself. Healthy love does not erase individuality. It creates partnership. You should still have your dreams, your friendships, your goals, your standards, your identity. The right man does not need you to disappear into the relationship. He wants to know the woman you are becoming, and he wants to support that woman. That is another sign worth noticing. When a man starts becoming genuinely invested, he becomes interested in your growth. He does not feel threatened by your ambition. He does not secretly hope you stay small so he can feel important. He wants to see you win. He celebrates your progress. He encourages you when you doubt yourself. He reminds you of your strength when you temporarily forget it. And when you accomplish something, he is proud of you. Not because your success makes him look good, but because your happiness matters to him. That is love with substance. And sometimes the clearest proof of a man's feelings appears when you are not giving him anything in return. That is when you learn the difference between attention and intention. If he only appears when he wants affection, attention, intimacy, or validation. That is not necessarily emotional depth. But if he checks on you when he knows you are struggling, if he remembers an important day, if he supports you when you are pursuing something difficult, if he reaches out simply because you crossed his mind, if he wants to know how your day went even when he has had a long day himself, those little moments matter because love is often built in the small things, not the expensive things, not the dramatic things, the small things, the consistency, the patience, the remembering, the listening, the showing up, the keeping promises, the willingness to repair what has been damaged. The decision to stay connected instead of disappearing every time things become uncomfortable, those are the bricks that build emotional security. And here's something every woman needs to understand. Never underestimate a man who becomes consistent. A man can be charming for a week. He can be romantic for a month. He can be obsessed with you for a season. But consistency over time tells you far more than intensity in the beginning. Because intensity can come from excitement. Consistency comes from intention. A man who is deeply falling for you begins to understand that keeping you is not about constantly impressing you. It is about continually respecting you. He realizes that trust is built slowly. He realizes that your heart is not a toy. He realizes that if he wants something real with you, his behavior has to become dependable. And that is why sometimes the man who is quietly consistent is more emotionally invested than the man who is loudly romantic. The loud man might give you butterflies. The consistent man gives you peace. And there is nothing wrong with butterflies. But never sacrifice peace just to experience excitement, because excitement makes you wonder what will happen next. Peace makes you feel safe enough to enjoy what is happening now. And if a man makes you constantly anxious, constantly confused, constantly uncertain, constantly questioning whether he wants you, then you need to stop romanticizing the uncertainty. Confusion is not always chemistry. Anxiety is not always passion. And inconsistency is not proof that he secretly loves you. Sometimes inconsistency is simply inconsistencies. You must be strong enough to accept what someone's behavior is telling you. That is what self-respect looks like. And the beautiful thing is, when you have self-respect, you stop trying to force relationships that are not naturally moving toward you. You stop begging, you stop over-explaining, you stop proving, you stop competing, you stop becoming someone you are not just to keep somebody interested. You allow people to reveal themselves. And that is powerful, because the right man does not need a performance. He needs authenticity. He wants to know the real woman, the woman who laughs loudly, the woman who has opinions, the woman who has standards, the woman who says no, the woman who knows what she wants, the woman who can love deeply without losing herself. And when a man falls for that woman, he is not simply attracted to her appearance. He becomes attached to her presence, her energy, her mind, her heart, her character. The way she makes ordinary moments feel meaningful, the way she challenges him, the way she listens, the way she carries herself, the way she refuses to abandon herself just to be chosen, that woman becomes unforgettable. And that is why you should never believe that you have to become perfect to be loved. You do not. You need to become secure enough to be yourself, because the goal is not to make every man fall for you. The goal is to recognize the man who appreciates what you naturally bring into his life. There will be men who are attracted to you but not ready for you. There will be men who desire you but do not know how to love you. There will be men who enjoy your attention but do not have the capacity to give you emotional security. And there will be men who genuinely recognize your value and choose to meet you with effort. Learn the difference. That difference can save you years of heartbreak. And if you are wondering whether the man in your life is falling deeply in love, stop looking for one magical sign. Look at the entire pattern. Does he consistently show care? Does he respect your boundaries? Does he make time for you? Does he listen? Does he remember? Does he communicate? Does he include you in his thinking? Does he want to know your dreams? Does he care about your emotional well-being? Does he make an effort even when there is no immediate reward? Does he repair problems instead of constantly running away from them? Does he make you feel valued instead of constantly making you question your value? Those answers tell you more than any romantic sentence ever could, because real love is not just something you hear. It is something you experience. You experience it through consistency, through respect, through consideration, through emotional safety, through effort, through presence, and most importantly, through peace. So if you have been wondering why he behaves differently around you, why he remembers tiny details, why he checks on you, why he wants your opinion, why he opens up, why he starts thinking about your future alongside his own, why he cares when you are hurt, why he tries to understand you instead of simply trying to possess you, maybe the answer is simpler than you think. He may be falling, not just for your beauty, not just for your attention, not just for the way you make him feel. He may be falling for the woman you are. And when that happens, you do not have to force the relationship forward. Let it breathe. Let it grow. Let his actions continue to speak. Do not rush to label every emotion. Do not create a future based on a few good moments. Watch consistency. Watch character. Watch how he treats you when he is frustrated. Watch how he treats you when nobody is watching. Watch whether his effort remains after the excitement fades. Because anyone can perform love temporarily, but genuine care has a pattern, and that pattern becomes clearer with time. So ladies, remember this, the most powerful thing you can do when a man is falling in love with you is not to chase him harder. It is to remain yourself. Do not abandon your standards because you are afraid of losing him. Do not silence your needs because you are afraid of being too much. Do not pretend you do not care because you think being cold will make him chase you. You do not need games. You need discernment. You need confidence. You need self-respect. And you need the courage to let a man's actions tell you who he really is, because the woman who knows her worth does not chase love. She recognizes it. She does not beg for effort. She observes it. She does not demand respect. She requires it. She does not convince someone to choose her. She chooses herself first. And when a man truly falls deeply for that woman, something beautiful happens. He does not feel like he has conquered her. He feels grateful to have earned a place in her life. He understands that her heart is valuable. He understands that trust is earned. He understands that access to her life is a privilege, not an entitlement. And that is when love becomes something powerful, not because two people are perfect, but because two people are intentional, two people are willing to listen, grow, communicate, forgive, and become better. So if you are watching a man slowly become more considerate, more consistent, more open, more protective of the relationship, and more interested in your emotional world, do not overlook those quiet signs. They may be saying what his mouth has not yet found the courage to say. He may not be ready to say, I am deeply in love with you, but his behavior may already be whispering it. And remember, the right love will not leave you constantly wondering whether you are worthy. It will remind you. It will not make you beg for basic effort. It will naturally create effort. It will not demand that you lose yourself. It will make space for who you truly are. And it will not simply make you feel wanted. It will make you feel respected. That is the difference. So never chase the loudest expression of love. Look for the quietest evidence. Look at the consistency. Look at the care. Look at the way he listens. Look at the way he remembers. Look at the way he shows up. Because sometimes the man falling deepest in love is not the man making the biggest promises. He is the man quietly changing his behavior, because losing the connection with you would actually mean something to him. And when you see that, when you feel that, you will understand something most women spend years learning. Real love does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply becomes impossible to ignore. And when a man's heart is truly moving towards you, you will not have to chase every sign. His actions will keep revealing the truth. So stand tall. Know your worth. Keep your standards. Keep your heart open, but keep your eyes open too, because you deserve more than a man who knows how to make you feel wanted for a moment. You deserve a man who knows how to make you feel valued over time. And that is the kind of love worth waiting for.